to our viewers in Nigeria and across the world. This is Lunchtime Politics. I'm Kayode Okikilu here in Lagos. First, the highlights. Well, it's a dispute between two sister states. Bayelsa state government frowns at the eviction and demolition of its properties, allegedly by the River State government in Port Harcourt. Well, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC asks Nigerians to be on the lookout for candidates who may have given false information as it releases the list of contestants for the Kogi, Bayelsa and Imo elections. The APC national chairman admits that the party leadership did not consult adequately in reaching its decision to zone the 10th Assembly leadership positions as more members object. And presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, asks the leadership of Nigeria's main opposition party to revamp its strategies in order to dominate politics in Nigeria. We'll begin this afternoon with some drama which is playing out between sister states in the south-south region of the country, as the Bayelsa state government has frowned at the eviction and demolition of its property by the River State government, a situation it says could have been amicably resolved. Well, according to the Commissioner for Lands and Housing, both governors had discussed in 2021 when the River State government first served the Bayelsa state government the notice for immediate renovation of the property and other subsequent notifications. Well, the Commissioner affirmed the intent of the Bayelsa state government to renovate the properties and also highlighted that the planning for the burial of the father of Governor Doye Diri may have also stalled the renovation.
I received another notice signed by the Chief of Staff that he was personally directed by the governor that on the 10th is the last day of the staffers of Bayelsa State Liaison Office to be evicted from the properties. Immediately, I set my people on motion again to move straight and then ensure that our officers in the properties are safe. Our officers are safe so that we can maybe get alternative areas for them while we take some legal steps. So our people are actually safe. Some of their properties actually are outside, you can see. Today, on reaching today, they sent me a clip that demolition has commenced. Some of the roof has already been de-roofed. The BQ is de-roofed. Even the main buildings, you can see cracks of the main building. Bulldozer is there. So definitely even their lives are no longer safe. But we ask them to have some safe area because there are some Bayelsa State government properties even around those areas, so they can have some safe havens while the two governments actually slot it out. Now, Rivers and Bayelsa, we are two sister states. No matter the situation, if ordinarily properties belong to Bayelsa State government is defacing the scenery of old GRA, I expect Bayelsa State, Rivers State government to follow a diplomatic step to resolving the issue. It is not something that Bayelsa State government cannot do. Renovation of those two properties is not something that is far above Bayelsa State government. So Bayelsa State government actually is far more competent, qualified, and capable to renovating those properties. And then His Excellency Senator Doye has graciously approved fund for the renovation. So I see no reason why this very sharp, drastic action is taken by the governor of Rivers State.
Well, Channels Television has reached out to the River State government and we anticipate the response. But the properties in question are at numbers 5 and 9, Casa Street, Old GRA in Port Harcourt. That's the state capital. And an eyewitness says that the property at number 5 has already been demolished, while the one at number 9 says the process is ongoing. We'll stay with that development story and bring you the details as they come in. But let's talk elections now. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is asking Nigerians to scrutinize all the candidates in the 3 off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states for the elections scheduled for November the 11th in order to challenge any false claims that may have been provided. Well, according to a statement by INEC's spokesman, Mr. Festus Okoye, 18 political parties nominated candidate for the Kogi governorship election while 17 parties nominated for Bayelsa and Imo State. Well, the list is expected to be published any moment from now at the state headquarters and local government offices in the 3 states. Let's now talk about the build-up to the 10th National Assembly, the presidential candidate. Well, we'll get to that, actually. But the crisis rocking the All Progressives Congress, that's the ruling APC, over its backing of some candidates for leadership positions in the 10th National Assembly, is far from over, as the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, is admitting that the party did not consult adequately. He was speaking when some aggrieved aspirants for the office of the President of the Senate openly informed the party's National Working Committee of their intention to disobey the zoning arrangement that nominated Senator Godswill Akpabio as his preferred candidate. Of the aggrieved senators insist that it is undemocratic and unconstitutional to microzone the position of the President of the Senate to an individual.
The National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress again hosts some newly elected members of the National Assembly at the headquarters of the party in Abuja. These are senators elected on the platform of the APC, and they're not here for pleasantries. They're not happy with the zoning arrangement of the leadership of the 10th National Assembly.
Justice needs to be done. We all know the tabulation. We know what it is. And we shouldn't be blind. The power of anyone is not absolute. It's only power of God that is absolute. If you say the power, no throne that is permanent, but God's throne is only that is permanent. Take your pen and write it. Anything on the contrary, wallahi, the Northern Nigeria will take another decision against APC, and that will be that.
What you have done does not look very nice by putting people's name, personally people's name. It's undemocratic. It's against the constitutional right of 3 or 4 sitting down here. Section 51 of the Constitution do not say this for the National Assembly. So we are going to challenge it. We are going to say no.
As we are going, I had expected that the party will look at those who are very few. Just, I think, 4 of us or 5 of us declared interest. And I thought, in the wisdom of the party, they will invite just those 5 of us.
The national chairman, who received the protest letter from the aggrieved senators, assures them that the issue will be revisited.
We are happy to receive you, to come and express your displeasure for what the world was giving. Take us what we have done. There are mistakes that need to be looked at. We will look at them. I will not be ashamed of doing so.
Outside the meeting room, the senator representing Niger East insists that the party must correct the injustice done to the North Central.
What is due to North Central should be given to North Central. We are all legislators. We are the ones that are going to the floor of the Senate to canvass support for anybody. And we have made our points very clear that if the president, in his wisdom, decides to support the balancing of the secularity of this country, we in the North Central, we agree to it. And what next? We should be giving our own dues. That's all we're asking.
As the aggrieved senators await the outcome of their protest, the leadership of the party is optimistic that the issue of zoning of principal officers of the National Assembly will be resolved amicably.
Well, there's been a lot that have played out over the past couple of days in the build-up to this 10th Assembly, not forgetting that the 9th Assembly is actually still in session, but you understand why this is hotly contested for, particularly by the ruling APC. But let's get some clinical perspective to what we're seeing playing out. What is much ado about this 10th Assembly? What does it mean to Nigerians? How should this process go based on what we've seen in the past? What should work for Nigerians? Lots of questions. We're joined by Mr. Oke Epia, who's Executive Director, Order Paper Nigeria. That's a policy think tank and multi-platform legislative interface. They've done some work on this, and of course, they have an insight into previous national assemblies. He joins us live from London. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on the program.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
I know a lot of Nigerians may be asking, what's the much ado about this 10th assembly anyway? I don't know if any other assembly has gotten this much attention and traction. So why should Nigerians be interested? More importantly, is there anything they can actually do in this process?
Oh, well, thank you. Sadly, there isn't anything Nigerians can do. This is not a general election. This is an election reserved for 469 individuals. 360 of them in the House of Representatives and 109 of them in the Senate. They have the sole right to decide to become their leaders, President of the Senate, Deputy President of the Senate, and becomes leaders in the House of Representatives. However, Nigerians cannot vote, but they can make their voices heard, and that's the point we have always advocated. Because what you see playing out does not appear to have a frontline positioning for the interest of Nigerians, for the interest of the country, for the promotion of the welfare and well-being of Nigerians. All of this talk and agitation and contestation is just about, sharing of spoils. We gave you more votes, so we should have these positions. We had this done for you, so, what is it that they want to do for Nigerians, right? The question should be, what is the legislative agenda that you want to pursue if you get into office, if you want to be elected? How are you able to contribute to advancing, the fulfillment of the campaign promises of the government that will be coming into power? From May 29. These are the issues that Nigerians would like to hear about. Unfortunately, nobody talks about this. It's all about, okay, it is my turn. It is my turn. Unfortunately, that was the rhetoric, that also characterized some aspects of the general election. So that has been transferred to the contestation for National Assembly leadership. And it is quite sad because this is an arm of government that has a very important responsibility to advance governance, to advance the interests and welfare of Nigerians. So what we are seeing playing out is not. It doesn't seem to be in the interest of Nigerians. That is not at the forefront. We are seeing a contestation for political power. We are seeing a contestation for sharing of offices for the sake, I dare say, of personal interests, of personal political aggrandizements. And this is why Nigerians should keep talking about it, keep showing interest, asking questions, demanding those who seek to be leaders in the legislature. What is it that they want to offer Nigerians? Because they represent Nigerians directly. They have the mandate of Nigerians from their various constituencies and senatorial districts. So what is it that you want to go and be leader for in the National Assembly? So these are the questions Nigerians can ask. This is the much they can do, and we must keep making that point that they do that. And for us and other people, we can't stop making that point. Nigerians must demand of those who want to be, presidents of the Senate and Speaker of the House of Representatives, and indeed every other leadership position, to tell Nigerians what is it that they want to do to advance their interests.
And that should be, the focus here. But I see that you've done some work, chronicled the journey up until this point, how it started versus how it is going right now. So let's take a look at, how it started, the journey to the leadership, particularly for the Senate. So we had, at least 8 candidates jostling for that position, from Senator Ojuzo Kalu to Senator Izunaso, to even Governor Dave Umahi and Senator Godswill Akpabio, who has been said to be the party's, choice, and 4 other candidates. But then how it is going now is quite different. So take a look at how it is going. So Order Paper has curated this. So we've seen them drop to 5 from the 8 which we had earlier on. So still Senator Ojuzo Kalu, Senator Izunaso, Senator Akpabio, even Senator Yari, who spoke just yesterday, and Senator Sani Musa. That's for the Senate. We'll take a look at the House of Representatives, how it started. Understandably, this is where we started from for the House of Representatives, a total of 10 at least who are vying for that position. And it's good to see a woman was there. And how it is going right now, the woman is still there, but that list has been cut down to 8. So take a look at how it is going right now, particularly for the House of Representatives. 8 of them are now left from the 10 which we started with originally. So There you go. Let me come back to you now, Mr. Pierre. This is something you have monitored, not just for the 10th Assembly, for the 9th Assembly and the previous ones. And I'd like you to speak to Nigerians and also, the parties involved, because they have different groups now, the Joint Task, the Greater Majority, all of those different groups coming together. What is the danger when the focus is on, it is my turn, the votes you gave us, all of those factors which you mentioned? Is there a danger in just focusing on them alone to get leaders for the National Assembly?
Well, yeah, thank you. 2 points I'll just quickly clarify before I answer your question. First of all, the trend that you just put out, that we have curated is typical of, the leadership contestation, especially as the Fourth Republic is concerned. So we see this happen all the time because those who get in the fray sort of use that, contestation to negotiate one thing or the other from themselves, principal officer position, or so-called GC committees and all of that. So it's typical. So usually at the beginning you see high numbers of members and senators who want to become president of the Senate and deputy president of the Senate and speaker and deputy speaker of the House of Representatives. But they know deep down what they're angling for is something else. They would just be fine if they become principal officers. They would just be fine if they become chairperson of finance committee, of appropriation committee. I mean, this is how it works. So this is all part of the game. It's usual. It's typical of the trend. Another point I also want to make quickly, and that's the second one, is that yes, there is nothing wrong, in zoning and political power balancing. I have always made the point. It's important that we cannot, do away with that, because we must be able to balance our delicate diversity in this country. And bearing in mind that, in the last 8 years, especially, we've seen a lot of contestations about just how bad the management of our diversity has become in this country. So it's really not completely out of place to see the arguments for, it is this zone should not be left out. But in making that argument, that should not be the focal point. That should not be the only point, so to speak. We would like to see the individuals who had gone to the chairman of the party yesterday to make the point. Would have loved to see that, hey, chairman, we see these individuals that you have, decided as candidates of the party, do they have the capacity? Do they have the competence? What is their legislative trajectory, their contribution in the 8th Senate, in the 9th Senate, in the 8th House of Representatives, in the 9th House of Representatives? Do they have the trajectory? Do they have a performance record? And the records are there. So these are not the issues that are raised. The issues that are raised is that we would rebel against the party if it is not my turn, if it is not microzoned to me. And these are rhetorics, these are party issues anyways, but I'm just saying that these things do not give a sense of belonging to the generality of citizens that these individuals represent. And this is something that they just have to stop. This is something they have to do away with for them, Nigerians to have a sense of democracy, for Nigerians to begin to feel that they have elected individuals with capacity and competence, and character to represent them at the federal legislature. Take a look at all of the slides that you see there. I mean, we have done a curation. We've curated the performance appraisals of every individual in the 9th National Assembly, all 469 of them. We know who has performed, of all the individuals who are coming forward to be leaders of the National Assembly. Unfortunately, we see that the party is not looking at performance. You see the party looking at individuals. I don't know what criteria they have used to pick the individuals, but I mean, look around the individuals that they have picked. What is it that qualifies them? The individual that has been picked for president of the Senate, for instance. I mean, yes, he was senator, and then again, you must realize that within the context of the 9th National Assembly, what are his contributions? What do you remember him for? We remember the National Assembly. You can easily remember that, it was in the middle of one of the most scandalous events that happened in the National Assembly, the NDDC saga. So if these are the kind of individuals, with due respect to him and to the party, that the party believes should be leaders of the National Assembly, Nigerians should be worried.
I see you're referring. Pardon, I see you're referring to that infamous off your mic episode, if I'm correct.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, off your mic. Nigerians will not forget that. So it's actually some form of insult, on the sensibilities and, intellect of Nigerians. That is the candidate of the party for president of the Senate. So Nigerians should actually rise up and say, well, I've had enough of all of this.
Right.
It is okay to share the spoils after the elections, but it should not be at the complete expense of governance, of capacity, of character, and competence to deliver services to the Nigerian people.
Well, quite a number of cogent issues you have raised, and all eyes will be on the party. And in fact, the parties in this case, the APC chairman has said it didn't consult widely, so Nigerians will be looking to see what will come out of that. But I would like to thank you so much for that very insightful analysis of this whole process. I imagine that a lot of Nigerians are in a better position now to find a way to participate or at least add their voices to this. Mr. Okepia, the Executive Director, Order Paper Nigeria, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, let's take a moment now on the program. When we return, we'll talk about the PDP's plan to revamp its policies to participate more, play major roles in Nigeria's politics, as well as other stories. That's in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, and former Vice President of Nigeria, Nnamdi Sambo, are asking the party and its members to remain united and hopeful for victory at the tribunal. Both Mr. Abubakar and Sambo spoke at a reception ceremony for newly elected serving and outgoing governors of the PDP in Abuja. Mr. Atiku urged the leadership of the PDP to come up with strategies that will enable the party take what he called its dominant place in the country's politics again. And for the former Vice President, Nnamdi Sambo, he raised serious concerns about the spate of suspension and expulsion of party members at the state level. He's appealing to the acting national chairman to intervene urgently and explore all internal conflict resolution mechanisms within the party. Well, it was a very busy week, you can say that, at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. But it is quiet today as the councils go back to the drawing board to work on their responses to some of the applications made. Well, Nigerians will be looking to see how the court decides on the PDP's application for a live broadcast of the proceedings, which has been seconded by the Labour Party. Well, the Presidential Election Tribunal will not sit until Wednesday next week, when it reconvenes to continue hearing on the petition of the Labour Party, which is challenging the victory of the president-elect. Just yesterday, the PDP, who shares the same prayers as the Labour Party, will take, but rather next week, Thursday, the PDP will take its turn to take a listen to how the proceedings went.
The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, arrives at the Court of Appeal, venue of the Presidential Election Petition Court, to witness the day's proceedings. He is accompanied by some former governors and the former national chairman of the party, Mr. Uche Secondus. Present in the field courtroom are the lawyers from the PDP, APC, INEC, and the APM, who are also challenging the victory of the president-elect, Mr. Bola Tinubu. The first case before the five-man panel of justices, which is the PDP petition and the party's counsel, Mr. Chris Uche, informs the court that parties in the suit have met and harmonized issues for determination and have agreed to eliminate objections while tendering from the bar during the hearing. However, he is still waiting to get the responses from the other counsels to his application for a live coverage of the proceedings of the tribunal. The counsels assured the court that they would file their processes in a number of days. Meanwhile, the petition of the Allied People's Movement, APM, also came up for hearing. Counsel representing parties in the matter said that they have agreed to have a meeting on Monday and Tuesday to harmonize their processes. The tribunal consequently adjourned the petitions to May 18 for continuation.
We served the other parties the motion for the televising of the proceedings. They explained here that they are still in the process of filing their replies. Therefore, we could not proceed without their input. So we don't want to anticipate their response. That's why the matter and this motion and other motions have all been adjourned to Thursday next week. Definitely on Thursday, every party would have filed his replies.
We do not have any link or any relation with other parties that have withdrawn, and we are saying this with affirmatively and with all seriousness and of course with all responsibility that we do not have any intention of withdrawing our petition.
According to the parties, streamlining their documents to be tendered before the tribunal will hope an expeditious hearing of the case when they return on May 18. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
So we're back at the tribunal on Wednesday and Thursday for the cases of APM, Labour Party, and the PDP. Well, that's been the show for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Kayode Okikele. Goodbye.